Hi, everybody, and welcome to Variant Roles. I am your host and game master, Dan Gaston, at MadSciDM on Twitter, and we are here to get back into the rock and groove of Invisible Sun. I promise you I will make mistakes, because it has been like 6 weeks since I have played a game of Invisible Sun, and no, I did not refresh my memory on the rules. But we are here with MCG Mixtape on Thursdays, where we play all Monty Cook games all the time. And tonight is the surrealist fantasy magical game of Invisible Sun, which is perhaps my favorite game of all time. And we have got a returning character and a bunch of new characters, some familiar faces on Variant Roles, and some new faces here on Variant Roles. So I'm going to have everyone go around and introduce themselves first, and then we'll get into your characters. Some of them we have names, and some of them we may need to make up a name. And so we'll go around first. So just introduce yourself first, who you are, what you do on the internet, where people can find you. And I'm going to start in no particular order and go with Val.
You'd think after doing this since January, I would have better intros right now rather than blanking. Hello, I'm Val. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm a professional. I will be playing today Memory. Do we introduce our little side bits as well?
We do. So yeah. So if you've got a name, yeah. We'll do your characters now since you started just with your sentence. So your character sentence.
I'm playing Memory, who provides a vessel for spirits, and the pronouns are she, they.
Excellent. And I will fix that in our overlay. And yes, and so your full character sentence is because I decided that your foundation would be bizarre. If that
and
was
I
okay
loved it.
Excellent. So you're a bizarre, empathic goetic who provides a vessel for spirits. Excellent. I am excited. All right, let's keep going around on the bottom and move over to Anders.
That's me. Hello, I'm Anders. I use he, him pronouns. You can find me at Anders_D_K on the internets. And tonight I will be bringing back Key, who is a gender fluid, connected stoic apostate who caught fire's eye and tonight is using she, her pronouns.
Excellent. I am excited to have Key back and see what this delightful little firebug brings. All right, and why don't you, because you're the returning character.
Yeah.
No, I guess we'll touch base on it when we do it with everyone else. I'll go through and we'll just do the brief characters first, and then we'll go around to houses and stuff like that. So continuing around, let's go to Ty.
Hi, I'm Ty. You can find me at Ballroom Brawler on Twitter. I'm here on Variant Roles in Dice Priority. And tonight I am playing Chester, an iconoclastic, gallant apostate who murders spells.
Yeah, so I also selected iconoclastic for you for your foundation because I thought, and we can talk about this and it can change, but given the murders spells, I was like, ooh, this person sounds like they have an interesting backstory on why at least some magic they want to kill, and iconoclast, fight the system. You're an apostate too. There might be an organization within the city that you've got a beef with that you want to bring down, and so it seemed fitting to me.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right, and so moving over to our top line with the first of our new folks. Why don't we go up to Forda?
Hi, I'm Forda. Forda Bear on pretty much all the social medias except Tumblr, at which I am Lexar with 2 X's. I'll be playing an itinerant ardent weaver who channels strength and skill. She goes by she, they pronouns, and her name is pronounced Steven.
Steven, okay. Sure, I'm getting that. I was like, I think it's not Siobhan, which I'm used to seeing spelling, but I didn't see the I think O. So Shivan. Excellent. All right. And last but not least, we have Chase.
Hi, I am Chase. I write Invisible Sun microfictions over at is_microfictions on Twitter, and I will be playing Ali, who is an established ardent apostate who wallows in corruption. Both I and Ali use he/him pronouns.
Excellent, excellent. I am excited. All right, so I've got everyone's character sheets open in front of me so I can help guide everyone through and any selections that we need to make. So we have a very well-rounded group of characters. So, of course, we are playing in the city of Satyrine, which is the largest city in at least Indigo. Some would say perhaps the largest city in the actuality, but I think the city of the capital of the Pale, where all the dead live, is perhaps bigger just by sheer numbers. This is a city recovering after a great and terrible war, and all of our characters are potent spellcasters, magic users, and magicians known as Vislae, who live in one district of the city of Satyrine called Fartown. Fartown is actually its own, essentially, pocket universe that is only accessible to the rest of the city by a single gateway. And this is where the ruling faction or government, as it were, of the city, known as the Deathless Triumvirate, has decided that Vislae should live because this is the place where all the weird magic can happen, and you all tend to create a lot of magical accidents. Fartown is interesting because it is indeed extremely magical and surreal, and almost anything possible could happen here, and it is always autumn. The seasons never change in Fartown. It is always fall. It is always a little bit cool and crisp, and the leaves are always just turning and beginning to fall from the trees. So that's one of the distinguishing features of Fartown. Some say that it is this way because a powerful god cursed Fartown, whereas others say that it was a blessing. So which of those two you tend to believe probably says a lot about what you think of autumn as a season. I personally think that that's pretty great. All right, so all of our characters happen to live in a neighborhood, which I realize we actually have not named, so I think we're going to name the neighborhood finally today. But everyone lives on this group of buildings known as Autumn Run Towers. And it's like a complex of apartment buildings, but it takes up like a whole block. It's one of those like mega buildings that takes up this whole block. And it's a mishmash because, of course, it's full of Vislae. So the individual apartments are sort of like units stacked up and sort of haphazardly connected. So they all look a little bit different. There's protrusions. It looks like a mishmash of architectures. And it has like some cafes and shops on the bottom. And one of those is a cafe that is frequented by all of our guests here today, known as the Nebulous Quirk. And it is indeed a bustling coffee shop. There is a brightly colored couch that conveniently faces a window into the outside where people could peer on it. There's a couple of chairs clustered around it. And it is most well known for its resident wrong cat. So for those unfamiliar, a wrong cat in the actuality it looks like a cat, sort of, except its paws are perhaps a little too human-like. It doesn't have any fur, but it has stripes. But when you look at those stripes, you realize they are crawling ants that stay as stripes, but are just continuously moving. And its tail looks suspiciously like a centipede. And it has far too many eyes. Despite that, wrong cats are actually oftentimes fairly adorable. And this wrong cat in particular is friends with many of these people, including Key. The wrong cat who I'm gonna have to. Do you remember the name? Chat will remind me because they'll probably know, but I actually forget. It's Mrs. something.
I do not have that notebook with me.
Yeah,
I have a new notebook.
I'd have to look it up, and I will later as we go through. But the cat is yes, Kilgast. Kilgast.
Yes.
Yes.
Miss Kilgast or Mrs.
Miss
Kilgast.
Yeah, I think Miss Kilgast is the name of the wrong cat, and it's currently perched in Key's lap as you are seated around this couch. So, Key, why don't you describe your house so that because we're gonna have to go around and fill out some details about everybody else's house. So, where does Key live here?
Well, Key lives in it. On the outside, it looks like a very normal apartment. It has, a door and a number. And when you open the door, though, the entire inside is covered in wax. It's like dripping down the walls, and it's all over the floor, and all the furniture is made out of wax. And sometimes Key gets mad and melts all the furniture and rebuilds it into new things. And recently Key has been doing a little remodeling, and she's knocked out the back wall. So there's now just an open wall that looks down probably 3-4 stories. It's just gone. She didn't want it anymore, so she got rid of it.
Excellent. All right. That sounds like exactly the kind of thing a Vislae would do. All right. So with that in mind, let's go around to some of the other folks and see where they live. Ollie, did you pick anything about your house?
Yes. So, you know how a bunch of places in fantasy universes look a lot smaller than they are on the inside?
That's right.
Backwards. So, I have a lovely from the outside apartment with like 3 windows. It's a corner apartment, so like 3 windows each wall. On the inside, there are no windows. It is a studio with barely even a closet. Just a bed, a desk kind of shoved up next to that bed, notebooks kind of littering the floor. There's a kitchen, we'll call it. It's mostly just a hot plate.
I always get the impression that Vislae are like the typical like post. I don't even know how to describe it, but that like vision where like we all just eat out, we don't cook, right? It's like right, like Vislae spend all their money on magic, and then like food and drink. Like it really seems like you just go to cafes and stuff.
You can just conjure the food, so like
that's true. That is a good point. So chefs are actually magic in Saturnine. They conjure food and mix the ingredients and all of that. So it is actually a place where meat is vegan. Because does not actually come from animals. It is just magically conjured. Excellent. Okay, so your house is literally smaller on the inside as opposed to bigger on the inside.
Yes.
Perfect. I like it. So you can add in any details you like in... there's a tab in your character sheet called House and Neighborhood, and so you can fill in things there. Do we have a volunteer for someone to go first between Val, Forda, and Ty?
I'll go first because I don't have a house.
That's right. You are an itinerant, so you don't have a house. Excellent.
But when I'm couch surfing, I always come in through the window. You don't have a window, but I find one.
Oh, excellent. That is... Forda is embracing the actuality already. All right. So...
I also don't have a couch, but you're welcome to it.
Thank you.
Always finds a window to couch surf.
Like a fire escape. Like, it's
Yep.
awful.
That's right. It doesn't matter if it was there before. It is when someone gives you permission to couch surf at their place, it just appears.
Because consent is important. I'm not just going to break into your house.
That's right. Okay, so are you couch surfing right now with any of these fine folks?
Possibly. What do you guys say? Who am I couch surfing with?
You can couch surf with me.
Okay.
Hi.
All right. So you're couch surfing with Memory. So what's Memory's place look like?
So we can be as weird as we want with this, right?
That's right.
Uh,
I did put, let's see here, because you get some limitations based on your foundation, like whether your house can be small or large or whatever else. Because you are bizarre, one of your options are prominent or unique. So not just weird or strange, but either very prominent and noticeable and like a landmark of the neighborhood, or absolutely unique.
So I have an idea if I can do this. So Memory has a swarm of moths tattooed on her back. When they go, the moths lift off her skin and come to life and form a swarm, which then makes up their house of this like cloud of moths.
Excellent. This is definitely unique. It is definitely the kind of imagery that I think we would expect to see in Saturnine. So I am loving it.
I'm sorry for saying you could couch surf on my moth house.
It's okay. Your moths are now supporting a fire escape.
The swarm sort of just moves around, and occasionally the moths reform into a fire escape and like make a window that opens with their wings.
Of course.
Excellent. Okay, I'm loving it. All right, and finally, what about Chester?
Well, now Chester lives in a lighthouse. It's a little smaller than a lighthouse would be. The space is not used very well. There are no stairs. From the ground up, it's plastered with papers and yarn, attaching piece to piece. Littered on the floor too. There's just pens and quills and papers and a single mattress, a tiny mini fridge.
Excellent. All right, I like it. So yeah, that definitely I think can qualify as unique as a lighthouse, or it could be hidden. One of the iconoclast options is hidden, so that's also possible. A hidden lighthouse actually sounds kind of interesting.
I like a hidden lighthouse. I'm going to say it's on a collar of some tiny creature.
Yes.
Where it's hidden.
So since we want to tie it to Autumn Run Apartments, perhaps it's a pin on the collar of the thought form head janitor.
I like that.
So because since he's a thought form, he's always in the building somewhere, and it's hidden on a pin, but the pin is on like, it's not even on the outside of his collar. It's one of those where it's like, so it faces in, it's like tucked in on the inside.
Perfect.
Okay, I like it. There's some things there that I think we can work with. All right, so we do, if anyone has any ideas, this neighborhood, other than the fact that Autumn Run Apartments is here, which houses the Nebulous Cork and all of your fine apartments and abodes, not adobes, and those of other characters that have come through on Vislae. We haven't actually named the neighborhood itself, like given it a snazzy name. Does anyone have a suggestion for a snazzy name for this neighborhood? It's your chance to go down in Vislae history.
It's almost too much pressure.
It's fine also if no one has any ideas. It can get named another day. It has been nameless for a while now.
I don't have a full name.
Okay.
But I'm going along the idea of autumn. I was thinking something with maybe the word ombre because of the colors of all the leaves in autumn, sort of are an ombre of colors. I don't know.
a very different direction. The only word that came to my mind was like back leg, and I'm like,
Well, I mean, it is a surrealist setting, so the juxtaposition of things that don't seem like they should go together is a very appropriate thing. So right now we're looking at something like back leg ombre.
Yeah. Which I love. The only thing in my brain is boy howdy. And I was like, that's the only thing in that.
Boy, howdy road.
Oh, boy howdy.
We've got a suggestion from Emma in chat to put burrow on the end of that. which
Back
I
leg
like.
ombre burrow.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
We can nickname it Bob.
It's Bob. Yeah,
Okay.
a very New York thing where you have to acronymize all of that. It does have a good mouthfeel, Emma. That's true. It really does. All right, so Bob, back leg ombre burrow. And I might, at some later point, fill in who the gerent is, which would be like the combo mayor / sheriff, essentially. The infrastructure of the hierarchy of rule is very decentralized and sort of de-evolved down to sort of these lower neighborhood bosses. Somewhere between political bosses and mob bosses, depending on your neighborhood. Okay, and so we do know that Autumn Run Apartments or Autumn Run Towers is sort of probably the most prominent residential landmark because it's this weird collection of Vislae apartments. But I would like at least one other landmark in the city. Or not in the city, sorry, in the neighborhood. So this could be like a park, it could be a shop, it could be another house, it could be almost anything.
be a fountain in the air.
Fountain in the air, I like it. So Emma in chat has provided some interesting headcanon that in her headcanon, this neighborhood now exists on the back leg of a giant elk-like creature, and then potentially moves around Fartown, which is actually potentially interesting, and maybe we'll see where that percolates in my brain over time. All right, so we've got a fountain in the air. So the fountain floats in the air. Is it water that comes out of the fountain?
I don't know. It might be fish.
It might be fish. I actually like that.
No water, just fish.
Yeah, just fish. There is some interesting things there. All right. And do we have a name for this fountain?
No fish. The fountain is named No Fish.
It's called No Fish, yeah. Perfect. I like the contradiction. All right. Yes, everyone commenting. Ty does look very dapper. I appreciate his commitment and his makeup skills.
Try. Thank you.
All right. So we've got all of that. So let's dive in. We've got some more details here, fleshing this out. So you are all currently in the Nebulous Quirk. Where's everybody seated? We presume we sort of just make the assumption that everybody knows each other. The Nebulous Quirk is like the place where everyone knows your name. And all of you Vislae who live in this apartment complex, you know each other at least casually. So enough that you would converse with one another normally without needing to have big introductions to get to know each other. So where are folks hanging out in the Nebulous Quirk today?
Good question.
Can we hang upside down like a bat?
You absolutely can hang upside down like a bat if you wish, Memory.
This is finally my chance to be a bat.
While you're doing that, I'm Slav squatting, but I'm sideways on the wall.
Okay. Excellent. All right.
Somehow, whatever I'm drinking isn't falling out.
Yeah. There's magic for that. All right. What's Key up to?
Well, I think I'm sitting in my usual chair, which is it's a very soft chair, and Miss Kilgrass likes to sit in my lap because I run a little warm, a little hot,
Mhm.
and I've got a cup of tea that, if you look really closely, is actually boiling hot. Just drinking that and petting the cat very quietly, just kind of watching everyone.
Okay. Excellent. All right. What about Ollie?
I am sitting near the window, staring out it as though it were raining, pensive, dreary. It's a lovely autumn day outside.
Yeah.
I am drinking coffee brewed legitimately so dark there is visible grounds in it. I presume that, like many businesses, we're not allowed to smoke inside, so I'm literally chewing on a piece of charcoal because I can't afford to smoke fountain pens anymore. Just eating it to the tip, pulling out another one, smoking as it were.
Excellent. All right.
Possibly monologuing out loud to myself, but very quietly.
Perfect. And what about Chester?
Chester is sitting on that fancy couch. He is slowly sinking into it, inch by inch, enjoying a nice coffee and pouring a little bit from his flask in now and again.
All right. Perfect. All right. So while you were all hanging out in the Nebulous Quirk, just enjoying another beautiful fall day in Firetown, Key, Mrs. Kilgast sort of lets out a yowl and like hops out of your lap, doing the typical sort of cat affronted by seemingly who knows what, tail twitching, as she stalks over to the window that Ollie is staring out of. So this big picture window that's like conveniently placed in front of the couch, so that, if there were a camera crew on the other side, they can just look through the window and film everybody hanging out on the couch. And she hops up on the windowsill and starts looking outside and growling.
Miss Kilgrass, is everything all right?
Her like centipede tail is just sort of doing a weird like lash skittering thing behind her.
I'll get up and look out the window.
Okay, so you see, just sort of coming into view, as if Mrs. Kilgast sort of saw it before it happened, you see a two-headed cat sort of trotting down the sidewalk and passing in front of the window with a baby swaddled on its back.
I don't know whether to interrupt the cat or not. It could just be taking a walk. Walking the baby.
Going to put my teacup down, sort of right in front of, maybe on a coffee table. Have we replaced our coffee table after it got spiderlinged?
Yes, this is a brand new coffee table after the previous one several weeks ago underwent a spidering and had to be destroyed.
Just put it on the coffee table, maybe in front of where Chester is sitting, and just without saying a word, begin to just sort of almost float-like movement out of the coffee shop just behind this two-headed cat, just like entranced.
Yeah, and as you step out, you hear this almost begging voice kind of behind you that's just going, meat, meat, give me meat, 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 give me meat. And when you glance over, there is a white chair walking down the street, and the voice appears to be coming from the chair. And the chair is walking, like its legs are like flexing, and walking as it sort of like wobbles and walks down the sidewalk.
Does it look like it's following the baby?
It sort of does, yeah. The one of the cat heads sort of turns and looks over its shoulder periodically, and the cat doesn't like break out into a run, but the way that it's like trotting, it's keeping a pretty equal distance away from this chair that's like kind of chasing it down the street. No sound from the baby. You see it moving. It appears fine and totally unfazed. Like the baby is just like drifting in and out of sleep on the back of this cat.
I want that baby. I want it very badly. I am going to go take that baby if I can.
All right. So while we do that, one thing that I forgot, some of you, in fact, all of you need some ephemera. So ephemera are single-use magic things that you have. Some of these take the form of objects, so ephemeral objects, and others are incantations, which are spells, but they're single-use, and they just come to you. You spend a little bit of time in meditation. You can't ask for anything specific. Just a spell kind of finds its home in your brain. It just comes to you. And so I'm going to do some random draws to get you some ephemera. You'll normally have 3, but I'm just going to do a few at a time, just in the interest of time. And go. Forda. Shivan, sorry. I am giving this one, which is called Reality is Just Another River to Ford.
I like it.
And I will grab that, give you the text. So this is, you contort and shift your body impossibly so that you wend your way through the spaces between the matter that makes up a physical barrier, like a wall or the floor. You pass through it as long as the other side, where you once again conform to your actual shape, is close. So as long as it's, within about 10 feet or so, you can basically just twist your way through a barrier in your path. And I'm just putting that in there as a note so you can actually see it. All right. And Chester. All right. Among shadows of hooks. This is actually an offensive sort of thing. So this is unseen hooks and blades tear at a nearby being, inflicting 6 points of damage. Right, put that in. Memory. The path between angry gazes. And so this is, you can conceal your entire body behind objects that are far smaller than you. You can step behind a light pole or crouch behind a small dog. You're never without a potential hiding place or without cover from a ranged attack. And it actually lasts a pretty significant amount of time. It actually lasts, when you cast it, it lasts for until the sun next rises or sets.
I don't know why my first thought was, I can hide behind the baby now.
You absolutely can now hide behind the baby. And ooh, Ollie. The west opened and death rode out.
Deal.
Yeah. So this is you summon a terrifying bloated figure astride a giant black tiger that kills the most injured creature close to you and then fades away, taking the body of the slain creature with them.
That's really metal. Cool. Sure.
It is. It's super metal. It's like a level 6. It's pretty potent.
Now we get to go several sessions while it's too good to use, and I can never use it. I'm jamming that.
Or it's just like the very first thing you encounter, and it's just like, hey! Ooh. Things get dark. Key.
Ooh.
Oh, actually, you've got a few, don't you?
I've got 3 from last time. My limit is 4.
Okay. The one I just drew is, interestingly enough, one you already have.
Oh, okay.
Close your eyes and die with the sun.
I don't remember what that does, but I know it's super dark.
It is. I am going to give you this one, which is Sight's Best Unseen. So I should mention that as well as surrealism, because there's sort of an intersection there, surrealism and things with like bodies and change, there is a sort of body horror aspect to a lot of the magic, in particular things with like eyes, teeth, falling out, moving to weird places, extra mouths. Those all tend to happen. So this is a close person's eyes disappear and one of them reappears on the tip of their tongue. Not only is this disconcerting, but in order to see, the target must keep their mouth open and tongue extended. And it gives them vex in their perception, so it makes them less able to see stuff.
All right.
All right. And then we'll give some other ones as we go through. We'll find some things and see how it goes. So to get back to the scene at hand, Key is sort of in between this chair that's saying meat, meat, meat over and over again in a sort of begging tone. That is following down the sidewalk this two-headed cat with a swaddled baby on its back. And what's everyone else doing?
So I went to the window because the cat went to the window and then he went to the window. So I'm going to look out the window and I have pushed open a panel of this window. Doesn't matter if it can actually do that. It is happening.
That's right.
And so I pushed the panel open, listened to some of this occur, and I called to the cat, the two-headed one, "Is this chair bothering you?"
Excellent. Why don't we do let's do a roll to see how interested the cat is in this case in answering you. This is probably normally the kind of thing where I just say the cat answers you, but it's a good opportunity to have like a low stakes intro to mechanics of the system. So we'll go to your character sheet. So this is like a persuasion thing, right? You're trying to get a little bit of information out of this cat. The cat in question, this two-headed cat, has a level, and the level determines its challenge. So it's not necessarily interested in answering you because you're just a stranger and, you know, it's a cat. It's got things to do, like protect this baby. And cats being cats, you know, when you want them to answer you, that's when they're not going to. So the two-headed cat in question has a level of 3. So that means absent anything else, if you just roll a dice, your 10-sided dice, as long as you get a 3 or higher on the dice, you succeed, because the cat's level determines its challenge. So what we can do in this case is we can make it a little easier, because if you get it down, the challenge down to 0, no dice needs to be rolled. It's an automatic success. Or you can reduce it by steps to make it easier. So this is where we build the venture. So the first thing we look for is if you have any skills that apply. So like a skill in something like persuasion or intimidation, if you wanted to take that route. And so if you look at the top of your sheet, there's a section called skills. And why don't you let us know what skills Shivan has?
Oh, right. Shivan has surviving and understanding non-codified magic.
Yeah, so like natural magical effects and things like that. So we don't have anything like persuasion. The next would be connections, which we haven't filled out in this case, because connections are like connections to either like your magical order. So you could have a connection to weavers, or to like groups, societies, or people in the city. And I didn't want to fill them out just yet. And you, of course, don't necessarily know all the different groups that you could possibly have connections with, but you can also make things up that would appear in the city. So, if, for instance, there were some group in the city that this two-headed cat that maybe talks belonged to, you could invent that group and have a connection to the group, and your shared connection to this group would help you in any interactions. You don't have to do that, but it's a possibility.
I actually really like the idea of that. So if you'll allow it, I would love to have this cat be part of some group, and it's just secret society or something, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Do we have potentially a name in mind for this secret society, or like is the two-headed cat part of a social club? That was a comment in chat. And that's a possibility as well.
Just like a knitting group or something.
Yeah, it could be, like there's the friars, right? Like it could be something like that.
So my brain is terrible and immediately jumped to musical groups and went the Stray Cats.
It's a jazz band.
Rockabilly, actually.
Yeah.
All right. So is the cat the member of the band, so the Stray Cats Rockabilly Band, or is it something like the Stray Cats Rockabilly Band and the cat belongs to their like fan club?
Oh, that's a good question. I am very bad at making decisions. I'm gonna actually
There's no wrong answer.
We'll go with fan club.
All
We're
right.
both part of this fan club.
Yeah, you're both part of this fan club. So so the cat sort of, one of its head turns around while the other one keeps, so it can be going straight ahead. And like maybe you have a patch or a pin or something that it sees and recognizes that you belong to this fan club. So you have one level of connections there, and so we'll add that to your venture. So your venture is at 1 right now. And the next good thing that you can do is you have all of these stats. So there's a section here listed with pools. You'll see current bene and pool total, and you see things like accuracy, physicality, movement, perception, that sort of thing. Then they have these numbers. And Invisible Sun, these are pools that you spend from, right? So you spend the points out of them, and you use recoveries later on to refresh pools. And we encourage you to spend them. It's not like taking damage. You can use one of the pools to ablate damage if you take it. Well, 2 different ones, one for mental and one for physical. But in this case, you could just spend, and since it's an interaction thing, the appropriate pool would be interaction. So if you spent 1 point out of your pool, that would add another level to your venture. So instead of the venture being 1, it would be 2.
Well, this sounds like an interaction venture.
Yep.
So, yeah, why not? We'll add.
Okay. So if you just change the current banana to 0.
Right.
Okay. So your venture's at 2, so its level was at 3, so 3 minus 2, we're at 1. So basically, as long as you don't roll 0 or 10, depending on what your dices look like, then you will succeed. So you can just take one of your d10s and roll it.
Oh, that's upsetting. 0.
Oh no! All right, so the cat looks over its shoulder. It recognizes that you're part of this fan club, and it just says, "Nice patch." I like them before they were. I like them before they were cool. And the cat just says, "Don't have time," and like keeps trotting. So it doesn't really answer you whether the chair is bothering it. It just says it doesn't have time, and it keeps on trotting down. And yeah, it was a total hipster mean cat.
Let that go nowhere. So I'm gonna climb out the window and follow.
Okay, so Key is sort of following, and now Shivan is following. What's everybody else doing?
I'm curious about this chair. Like,
Yep.
the baby's one thing. The baby's fine. The baby's got a supervisor. Baby has 2 supervisors.
I like that. Baby has a supervisor.
This chair wants meat, and that
Yes.
can't be good. But I'm just morbidly curious enough to want to see where this rides out.
Yeah. So the chair, it's got like its normally stiff chair legs are flexing in like too many places. Like they're not just bending in half or triple. They're probably bending in like 8 different places on the chair leg, and it's like wobbly as it kind of moves down the street. And all it's just saying is like meat, 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 meat.
Until it gets dangerously close to something made of meat that could reasonably not defend itself against a chair, I'm just gonna like walk after it, sip
Yeah.
some coffee.
Yeah, it's basically only going at what would amount to like a brisk walk, like a power walk kind of.
Yeah, just like chair speed.
Just chair speed,
Yeah.
chair speed ahead, and it's not gaining any ground on the cat, like, but also the cat's not running as fast as it could either. It's like looking back periodically and just trotting along.
Also, now that I'm outside, I've got an excuse to smoke. So,
Yeah, absolutely. What about Memory and Chester?
Hearing the ruckus from outside, I'm going to slowly begin to try to get out of this couch that is absorbing me slowly. I'm going to look outside, and this chair is also causing me powerful concern. So I'm going to, I will also slowly kind of follow behind, make sure this chair is not going to eat a baby.
yeah, mostly that.
Yes, and we can safely assume, again, because one of my lines is like bad things happening to children, that the baby is not in any danger, but you know, we can come up to that line a little bit where, you know, your characters can have some concern, but we as players and viewers, baby's gonna be fine. Don't worry. All right, so we've got 2 people following the chair, 2 people following the cat, and what's Memory doing?
God, it's so tempting just to be like, Memory stays in the coffee shop and ignores all this going on outside. Memory has no time for no. So Memory, who hasn't noticed anything happening, has just been reading their book upside down with this tea again, like Siobhan's drink. She is like somehow not going anywhere. And then they look around and realize that everyone else is gone. Oh, okay. All right then. And just gonna unhitch herself from like where she's hanging upside down and just walk outside reading her book. Is gonna like catch up to, who's at the back of this line?
It would be Ollie and Chester following the chair.
They're going to walk up behind Chester and just like take the edge of Chester's jacket and just keep reading. So just like gotta following on.
Okay. All right. All right. So, does anyone have anything they want to use to potentially learn more about any of these things? So, like the equivalent of D&D, like knowledge checks. Those are the kind of things we could do. And of course, you do have various magical abilities and things that you can use as well. So, for those new to the system, your biggest way to activate magic, so incantations are free. Doesn't matter what the level is, you don't have to spend points to use it. But any of your general spells or at the bottom of your sheet, your like order abilities or your forte abilities, you use those by spending sorcery. So sorcery is one of your pools. For all of you, I have tended to make it one of your biggest pools, or at least tied for, biggest pools, because it's pretty important. And the cost of any ability is typically whatever the level is. So if it's a level 2 ability, it costs you like 2 sorcery to use or activate. And the good news is if there is a challenge involved, the level of your ability is basically the starting value of your venture before you start adding any additional things onto that. So does anyone have anything that looks interesting that they might want to apply? And in the case of Shivan as a weaver, there should be that like level of different effects. So you've got your weaver aggregates that have the types of things that can be included. So why don't you let everyone know, what are your 2 weaver aggregates?
My aggregates are alleyways and challenge.
Yeah. So alleyways is all about like stealth and trickery or poverty or the lower class, rumors, whispers, betrayal. You can see some of that classism kind of, right? There's a lot of like negatives and sort of classist ideas that get associated along with, things that we just normally associate with alleyways. And it also has absences, so whatever you're trying to do can't involve the absences of any of the 2 aggregates you're weaving together. So nobility, health, prestige. And then for challenges, it's about obstacles, contests, battles, mysteries, understanding, and purpose. But it can't include avoidance, movement, or health. So basically, like your weavers, you can't do anything that like heals anybody or makes anybody seem noble or like makes them faster, right? Because they'll cancel out from those 2 things. But you do have, for instance, things like understanding from challenge, which is like the kind of thing for learning information.
So as a weaver, do I have to add both together or can I pull separately?
You do. You always weave them, but to be honest, it doesn't necessarily have to explicitly include a quality from each.
All right.
It's pretty free. So like if you're weaving the 2 of them together, but for the purpose of understanding, and then we can flavor it, right? Like whispers. So like the understanding is whispered to you, right? That sort of brings those 2 things together. And we've got like a couple of different things. So we get this level of different effects, which gives us a guide on the level of what we can accomplish. And so the level will be the amount of sorcery it costs. So your sorcery pool is 4, so the maximum you could get is a level 4 effect.
Okay.
And all of your default ranges of your 2 aggregates is touch. So whatever you're doing, you have to touch it. If you want it to be a little bit further away, like something you cast on something nearby but without touching it, that increases the level by 1. So in your case, like you could do something like you want to get a +1 on an action, right? So that's a level 1 effect. Creating an illusion, for instance, is a level 2 effect. Changing appearance is a level 3 effect. Telepathy by touch is a level 3 effect, right? As a judge. So if there's anything you might want to do in terms of gaining understanding of something, those are sort of the ranges that we're working with.
All right. Let's see. Hmm. So, having failed the first time to get this cat to talk to me, I'm now going to try and do a little bit of weaving, see if I can boost my chances a little bit. So
Okay.
I'm weaving some understanding and some whispers for rumor.
Yep.
And I'm going to try and, I guess, draw on what's local about this cat / baby.
Mhm.
See if I can just like overhear something relevant.
Okay. And do you want to touch whatever you're trying to like get whispers from, or just have it kind of come from
I'm
the
gonna
ether,
pat the
as it
baby
were?
on the head.
You're gonna
as
pat
my
the baby on the
touch.
head. Okay. All right. So you're gonna get up and sort of touch the baby and get a little bit of a read. So let's go with like telepathy is a level 3 effect. So like basically figuring out what's going through the mind of this baby seems appropriate.
All right.
So you can go ahead and spend 3 sorcery.
Yep. So, sorcery.
And
Sorry. There's that. Spent 3.
yep. And the baby has a level. The baby is a higher level than the cat. The baby's level is 5. But you're using magic, so you're going to be rolling 2 dice. So, 5. Your level was at 3, so -3 takes us down to a 2. And you'll be rolling 2 dice. And I think in this case, you're reading it. It's not necessarily interaction because you're just trying to read its mind. I'm going to say that if you wanted to spend from a pool to add sort of 1 to the venture here, that I'd say it's intellect because it's like a mental thing, trying to sort out information.
Okay. I will do just that.
Okay, so now the venture's 4. So again, just as long as you don't roll a 0, you're looking at 1 or better, and you're rolling 2 dice because you're using magic, you're using a spell, or you're weaving magic. So you're automatically rolling 2 dice, and just remember which one of those 2 is a magic dice in case the magic dice comes up 0.
Okay. Well, the first one was 5, and the second was 0.
Okay. All right. So usually I think the assumption would be that the first dice is the normal one and any subsequent dice are the magic dice. So you're going to succeed because you got a 5 on the first one, but you have triggered flux. So we're just looking at the minor flux chart. And I like this one because it's appropriate. The chair catches on fire.
I didn't do it.
Yeah, so Key, you can sense this like magical spark of flame. You feel the world around you kind of ripple a little bit, and then this heat leaps up, and you can feel that the chair has gone up like a candle.
Oh no. I think that counts as a despair.
That's normally me who does that.
Oh no.
So mechanically, because you're a weaver, this will come up at the end of the game when we tabulate them because it's not automatic. Basically, well, it is automatic, but characters typically only get like one joy or despair in a session. So if you have other things and it seems you should more get joy, we'll see. But yes, one of the suggestions for a weaver is when you fail or do something unexpected when weaving, that will grant you despair. The good news is in this game you actually need both joy and despair to advance. You need a little hurt, you need a little joy to grow as a character. But the good news is you do read the baby's mind.
Okay. Before you get into that, I gotta take a bio break.
Okay, excellent. So we'll touch base with what everyone else is doing while that is happening. So Ollie and Chester and Memory, and Key too, because Key senses it. The chair is now on fire, but it's still just going meat, meat, meat.
Knowing what the assumption is probably going to be, I'm just going to turn back. I didn't do it! And then focus back on the baby, just so they know, because normally it's me who accidentally catches the room on fire. This time it wasn't.
I've been given no reason to disbelieve that. I'm going to follow the chair, perhaps with more vim and vigor, but at a slightly further distance.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, it initially leapt up into a bit of a deeper flame, and then it died down a little bit. So like, the back of the chair is essentially flickering on fire, but the chair seems unperturbed by this.
Reasonable reaction for a chair to have, I can only assume.
Like a moth to a flame, I'm gonna run to that chair.
I'm a little. But
No, go on, you.
I'm a little more concerned about this chair. It might be immortal, and that's a big concern. If you cannot kill it with fire, well, can.
It's true. If things made of wood can't be killed with fire, I mean, you always need to kill things with fire just to be sure, right?
I'll watch it a little more intently.
All right.
Can we talk to this chair?
You haven't tried yet.
Doesn't seem to have much to say.
I'm wondering about the spelling of meat. Does it want meat to eat, or does it want to meet the baby? Is the baby the chair's? We don't know. There's a complex family dynamic happening here.
That's good. I mean, do you want to ask the chair? Do you want to what would you like to do?
I would like to go to the chair and be like, "Hi, do you want to eat meat, or do you want to meet me? Do you want friends?" And I'm going to use my, if I can, my understanding. Oh, it probably won't work because it's not understanding people's motives. Does it work on a chair?
It absolutely does. And I should fill in the level there. It is level 1. For this purpose, people is pretty broad. And I mean, you don't know. Just because it looks like a chair does not mean that it's not a person.
If you've seen Beauty and the Beast, you know that chairs can be suspicious.
That's right. Okay, so in this case, your adventure is going to start out at 1. And the chair's level is 3.
Alrighty.
So you get adventure of 1, and so are you going to actually question it, or are you just trying to like observe it and discern its intentions?
I'm going to ask it, but also stare at it and try really hard not to touch the flame, because I really want to touch it.
Gotcha. Okay. So I am going to say that this will be interaction would be the appropriate pool here. So you can only spend a max of one. Getting so that you can do multiple levels of spending is secrets that you learn as a character. So for now, you can only spend one. So that will put your venture at from your interaction pool from current. So that'll put your venture at 2.
I forget. Do I need to get it down all the way, or can
You
I
don't.
take those
Nope.
odds? I would like to
You
take
can
those
take
odds.
those odds. Yep. So 1 or better.
Ha! What?
Okay. So the chair just says, "I am hungry and would like some meat."
Okay. Well, you do what you gotta do. Key, I think he wants to eat the baby.
And actually, Memory, when it answered you in the language of demons.
Demon chair.
And
Yes.
you, as a goetic, can
Sure.
understand.
Demon chairs. Also, it might be a demon, but I've been wrong before.
Oh, you absolutely know it's a demon.
I'm just trying to keep it smooth and not panic anyone on the baby.
Okay. So as this is happening, as your strange procession is like power walking down the street, you hear a melodious but angry voice yelling at to perhaps no one in particular. There is a long-winded diatribe angrily going on about how you Vislae who shackle yourself to your orders and your rules don't know how to be free. Throw off these strictures that keep you bound. Seize your freedom. Reject the tyranny of the triumvirate. And as this voice sort of keeps going on, standing on a bit of a platform is I would describe them as a femme presenting individual, but super punk rock. They are covered in a shifting, ever-changing group of tattoos that cover every square inch of exposed skin. They're wearing sort of a tunic. They've got sandals. If you look hard enough, all of these magical runes and symbols tattooed on their skin are symbols of freedom and anarchy and liberation. And they have 2 large feathered wings that come out of their back as this angelic tattooed figure. Every single feather is dyed a unique color. So there is like hundreds of different shades. All of these feathers individually dyed a different color, and they have piercings, and just continue to extol the crowd on the virtues of anarchy and liberation, and nay, revolution.
Key is like literally reaching for the baby, sees the angel and just like freezes and lets the cat keep going, and the baby just leaves their grasp.
And then the table walks by you, or the chair walks by you.
So on the one
everybody else
hand,
doing?
I hate angels. On the other hand, I don't hate that angel. Just take a little note.
They have a different look to them. Angels as creatures of the legacy are all sort of inherently beautiful in whatever form they take. But it's like a little bit, not all, but a little bit of the shine is sort of smoothed off of this particular angel. They've got a little bit of a dark touch to them.
Just a little ruined.
Just a little, yeah.
I want to approach the angel.
Yeah, I think 2 out of 3 are entranced.
What about Chester?
No, as I walk on by here in the message, to say, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Fuck them, I say. But there's an immortal demon chair, I think. Follow my baby. I'm going to have to keep going.
And so this angelic figure sort of like looks down, and I think can probably tell that you are an apostate. And just nods and sort of gives a little like fist pump.
Do a deep bow.
Says, I see you've already taken a step on the path.
Walking down it fast.
And sort of looks at the chair and sort of sneers and says, demon chair, huh? Well, demons. Destroy them where they stand.
It's going to eat the baby. Hello?
Then you must stand up, like all good guardians of the legacy. Strike down evil where it rests, for there breeds tyranny.
I want to use my elemental scar and make the chair burn to a crisp.
Okay, excellent. All right, Key. Elemental Scar, so you're at a level 3, so you can go ahead and spend 3 sorcery points.
Okay.
And the chair is level 3, so you automatically will succeed.
Cool.
Because you cannot fail, and even though it maybe has magical defenses, because it is a demon, it doesn't matter, because you'd be rolling 2 dice anyway. And you're going to use fire, and you're going to lash out at it. And I just want to see how much. I think it gives it a wound equal to the spell's level, so it'll give 3. Alright, that'll carry over to a wound. So what's it look like when you lash this out?
Well, normally it's like a big thing, but I just sort of reach my hand back and just sort of flutter my fingers around, and all the fire that's already on the chair just grows into this massive, this inferno, and just sort of pulls the wood apart and burns it, and it begins to smoke all over the place. I'm still looking at the angel.
Okay, excellent. So to fill Forda in and Shivan, so as and we'll see what you read from the baby's mind. You had started to pass this like street preaching, punk rock looking angel who was standing on the street corner preaching about overthrowing tyranny and rebellion, and anarchy, and like take your freedom. And Key was entranced, and Chester spoke with it a little bit, and they said that if that chair is a demon, because yes, memory conversed with it and it spoke back, but in demon speech, and that demons should be destroyed where they stand. So Key is like attempting to do just that. So as you concentrate that flame, it creates this like wicked looking sort of scar across the chair as the flame sort of burns out, and then the flame goes out, and it just has this like smoking crack sort of in the wood across the chair, and it gives it a wound.
I have a question, a not Key question, an Anders question. My ephemera, the dark one. What's it called? Where'd my sheet go? Close your eyes and die with the sun.
Yes.
That deals I don't have the text for what it does, but if I remember correctly, it deals additional wounds as the sun sets, or something like that.
Yes. I had this open. And also, I forgot, as usual, that I hadn't played any Sooth cards yet.
Sooth card.
Yes. So, close your eyes and die with the sun. It's level 5. You touch a creature. At the moment of the next sunset, they suffer 1 wound.
Okay. Well, I want to kill it now, so I'm not going to use that. Never mind.
And so let me just get into the
That's
app
so
here. And I need to get the overlay fixed for Vislae so that I can show the cards. But for now, I'll pull this up. So the Sith cards are a tarot deck-like mechanic that go along the path of suns that represent the actuality and the flow of magic. And anytime we like change scenes, introduce major new things, or deal damage to something, we play a Sooth card. And so we played a new Sooth card, and this will affect magic. We have played the Enticing Jewel. Greed, money, beauty, goals, and success. The light at the end of the tunnel, the center of the target. The object of our desire lies before us in the form of the enticing jewel. This is sort of the narrative impact. And it is, its color is invisible. So it will affect all magic. Will be at +1, so +1 to your venture. And visions, swans, blades, and water. So you'll see on your character sheet under near where I put, depending on your sheet, the updated sheet, heart and soul, you've got card family, animal, and object. And the card family, animal, and object give you something. So if any of those tie to you, visions, swans, blades, or water, so if any of those match up with your card family, animal, or object, then the magic gives you just a generic +1 on your ventures.
Okay, right. Season enticing jewel right now. So appropriate.
All right, so you dealt some damage. The angel cheers, pumps their fists, and is like, "Yes, slay the demon. Be free." And the chair unfolds around this scar that you have inflicted on it as it shifts its shape, and it sort of flattens out and unfolds until this tall, pale, gangly creature is standing there, sort of 4 limbs stretched out with far too many joints on each of them, and a smooth, faceless visage, except where it cracks open into this impossibly wide grin full of dagger, shark-like teeth and no eyes.
Nope, like that.
Shivan, as you sort of read the baby's mind, the baby is just thinking, it's sort of like humming, like like it's enjoying the ride on this 2-headed cat. And it just says, or is thinking, because it's sort of not communicating with you, it's just that it's thinking. And let me double check this. It is saying, or it is just thinking, Berdoon's Music Shop.
Could you say that again?
Berdoon, or Berdun, Berdun.
Okay.
And like, it's not literally saying that, but like the word Berdun is coming, and you get like mental images of musical instruments, and we can see in a moment if you know anything about Berdun's Music Shop. So as this demon unfolds, what are other people doing? Or what's anybody doing? Because now, like, you know, Shivan's got this, like, reads the baby in, like, an instant. And then you hear this, like, crack and roar of fire behind you. And then turn as you see this chair unfolding into the demon.
I'm pretty sure I didn't do that. Oops.
That time it was me.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, but the fire was you. The teeth doesn't seem to be within your purview.
No, that's a demon. We should kill that.
Yeah.
That's the angel said.
Sounds good. Okay.
But why though?
Because the angel said so.
Mostly because we've already attacked it, and it is probably not going to just let that stand.
Okay, that one makes sense. All right. But whoever did that, that looked really, really cool.
He flushes.
Okay.
So
Uh,
Chester or Ollie are probably the closest. So Chester,
Yeah.
this demon swipes out with these like large, jagged wood claws, and swipes at you. So you're gonna need to see if you can sort of like dodge out of the way.
Okay.
All right. So the chair is level 3. Its true nature as a demon has been revealed, so it is magical. So you need multiple successes in this case.
Okay.
So we'll want to build your adventure. So you could have a skill in dodge.
No,
But you don't.
I do.
Okay. That's right. So our starting venture is sort of at 0.
Okay.
If you have any magic that's appropriate, you could attempt to use that. Or you can spend from your movement pool,
Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
right, to build a venture there. And since you're going to need to be rolling 2 dice and succeeding, you'll also, in this case, need to spend from sortilege.
Sortilege. Okay.
Yeah, so
yeah.
sortilege is just like you channeling like raw magical power into what you're doing to make it magical.
Okay. So I can
So you'll-
spend, like 1 from sortilege and 2 from movement. Is that kind of how that works?
You can only spend 1 from movement.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so you've got a limitation as like a starting character basically.
Gotcha.
So you'll have a venture of 1, and you'll be rolling 2 dice. So you'll need a 2 or better on both dice.
Is one of them supposed to be different colored for this?
Yes, or you can roll them like one at a time, so you know which one's magical.
I got that. Yeah, I got different colors. 6 and a 3.
6 and a 3. Okay, so you dodge out of the way. It swipes over your head, this demon. And what are people doing? There's no real like initiative. We kind of keep it like it's a round, but as long as everybody goes, then that's okay. So we can go in whatever order you like. But definitely the demon chair is now attacking you.
Yeah, so now that we've got an intent from the demon that it wants to demon us, I would like to cast Quiddity of Corrosion.
Okay.
I conjure a mass of burning acidic ooze covering a small area. It eats through any material of a lower level at a rate of about 1 inch per round. If a living creature touches the acid, they suffer damage equal to the spell's level.
Okay. All right. And so since that's a level 6 spell, so it'll cost you 6 sorcery.
Yes.
Ollie took all the things that as apostate gave him lots of starting sorcery, which allowed him to select fairly high level starting spells, because as long as there's no limitations like in D&D, as long as you have enough sorcery you can learn the spell.
And also, Ollie doesn't really pay attention to academic endeavors, so a high intellect or interaction wouldn't really work.
That's right. Excellent. Okay, so this will do 6 damage. So in this case, It is a pretty low level demon, so those will just instantly transfer into wounds to give it 2 more wounds. And so basically, you like summon this corrosive acid, which just dissolves the demon chair.
Specifically, because my character is gross, awful, and hideous, I'm going to inhale the wood smoke that's now kind of profuse in the air until it gets a slight gag going. and then just effusive acid spewing out of my mouth all over the demon is the strategy.
Yeah. Okay. So you spew this acid out of your mouth all over the demon, which shrieks and basically does like the melting Wicked Witch sort of routine. But it's just saying, instead of like I'm melting, it's just like I just wanted meat, so hungry, and then dissolves into this like puddle of goo.
Just go to a food cart like the rest of us. Jeez.
And at this point, the cat has stopped and sort of turned around, and the two heads are like looking at you, and just says, well. And then the cat sort of like sits down. The baby's still swaddled and like strapped to its back, but it sits down anyway. Sort of starts cleaning one head and then the other while it's talking. Well, that little problem's taken care of. Picked it up a few streets back. I think a Goetic lost control.
That one wasn't me.
And it was hungry, and I gotta get this tyke home, and we appear to be lost.
Oh, so it's not your kid.
Well, it's not my progeny, if that's what you mean.
Wait,
But I am its guardian.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Supervisor.
The baby
I
has a
like that.
supervisor.
Supervisor. Yes. I look after the children.
Children as in multiple?
Oh, yes, but today my charge was this little one.
Now, is this some sort of business venture, or are you just kind of finding these children higgledy-piggledy and bringing them places?
Oh, no. The child's parents employ me. I do have, let me see. And it sort of starts patting around its fur, and like one paw kind of like disappears, and it flips over and hands you a card. And you notice that its front paws are actually like human hands.
I'll take a card. I don't have
Yeah,
a kid, but I'll take a card.
it hands cards out to everybody.
What does this card say?
Yeah, and it says, let's see, we need a name for this cat, and I'm gonna say that its name is Mr. Downing. It says Mr. Downing, 10th of his name, Esquire.
Sorry,
Val's gonna kill me.
I just like a Downing Street.
Number 10 Downing Street.
Number 10 Downing Street. I love this cat, but I hate it because earlier it said I listened to it before it was cool.
It's a hipster cat nanny.
Look, at least I didn't call it Boris.
Oh, then I would have burned the cat.
And it says Child Supervision and Transportation Services.
I'm gonna just throw the card to the side. I don't with kids. Nah.
That's okay.
I don't know what babies are. And I'm just gonna hand it back.
I'm gonna literally
Stuff it
point at the child on the cat and just shrug my shoulders.
I'll take those cards. I can find some people to pass them out to.
Oh yes, excellent. It's freelance economy out here, and I got to make sure I keep up enough gigs.
During all of this, he wants to be going through their bag and very, very shaky fingers, finding all the little paper feathers that they've been crafting for a very long time, and just start pulling them out and just like gathering like a bouquet of paper feathers.
Okay. Yes, the angel nearby has gone back to preaching after congratulating all of you for striking down that evil creature. Protect the legacy.
Oh no, that was not the goal there.
Whatever your goal, the ends. The ends.
Can I just moonwalk back and fist bump this angel?
Yeah, absolutely. Like the tattoos are like swirling and changing. You see like the sort of like anarchy symbol briefly, symbol from the gray, and then that fades away into other sort of more esoteric symbols of rebellion and freedom.
I like your body pictures. They're very pretty. Fist bump.
They exemplify who I am and what I stand for. You can call me Aeroix.
Mine are just my house.
Well, as a Goetic, you have perhaps some of the strongest, needless organizational structure. Plus, you like to bind folks like me into service. Sure, you offer payment, but power dynamics are, well, let's just say they're a little bit of a problem.
That is a very good point. I try not to take it as a bond of service and more of an equal partnership. I share what I have with people who share what they have with me, and that is the kind of bond that we have.
Good. I know some Goetics strike a good path in their negotiations. But still, these orders, forget about them. You bind yourself in meaningless structures.
But structure also helps give us meaning in a sort of chaos.
Should maximize your freedom to truly enjoy the legacy. Your orders keep you bound in chains. Think on it, Goetic.
I've already forgotten it, and I'm going to moonwalk back to my group.
and they sort of continue their preaching. Some people pay attention. Seems like probably most of the people listening to them are apostates.
I'd like to approach the angel, if I can.
Absolutely.
I'll wait till they're not speaking, so I don't interrupt them.
And you're sort of like, I imagine, just standing there, sort of like obviously awkwardly shy.
Oh yeah, extremely awkward.
Okay, so Aeroix then like pauses, or sort of trails off, and then like turns to you and just sort of arches an like a pierced eyebrow at you.
Hello, my name is Key. Here are some feathers that I've made into flowers for you. Would you like to be my friend, please?
Do you embrace freedom and the heart? Does the heart of rebellion, the fire of rebellion, roar in your heart?
Fire! It definitely lives in me, and I'm not a part of an order, so yes.
I like it. But don't put me on any pedestals. As the angel is like literally standing on the equivalent of a soapbox.
I don't know what you mean. I just I'd really like to maybe talk to you and learn some things about you and what you are. And would you like to go get coffee with me?
This is adorable. Aeroix just looks at you and says, "Sure."
Wait, really?
Yeah, I like coffee.
I did this right. I did this right. Oh, good. There's We live in there's a cafe at the on the street with the I'm looking around for help because I'm starting to panic because I didn't think I'd get this far.
Apartments.
We live in apartments, and there's a cafe, and there's a cat. Miss Kilgrass. What's the name of the cafe?
The Nebula Quirk.
The Nebulous Quirk. Would you like to meet there tomorrow, maybe for coffee?
Sure. I'll see you then. I've got a few meetings to attend to, but I'll come by.
Oh, okay. I'm just gonna back away very, very awkwardly.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then Aerox like sort of does the whole like sort of bends at the knee just a little bit, and like jumps up, and like the two wings like smash down as she sort of, or they lift themselves like up into the air in sort of a corkscrewing spiral, and like fly out over the nearest building. And just as they're leaving, you actually see a group of essentially police, right? Like basically the local Garrent's like militia. So they're wearing sort of just a simple uniform. They've got like a pistol on their hip, and they're just like kind of running down the street and pointing at the angel. But then when Aerox like flies away, they just sort of like do the whatever, forget about it, and like wander away.
That was great. You did great.
I've been watching other people, and I just tried to do what they do. Didn't I? It worked.
It did.
It worked. You did great.
It worked.
You
Okay.
did very good. I'm gonna lead over to Siobhan and go, if that angel does anything wrong tomorrow, I'm going to summon him and kick his ass.
Wait before you start kicking his ass. I want the first punch.
Okay, we'll team up. This is why I let you crash on my moth couch.
So while that was going on, the cat with the baby is sort of just looking at Ollie and Chester, who are still sort of there and not attention taken away by the angel, and just says, "Hey, do you know how to get to Verdun's music shop from here?"
Probably.
I can certainly try.
Yeah, you can see. So this is just like a local, would I think be a local knowledge thing. I'm gonna give it a challenge. I'm gonna give it a level 2. Like it's something that's not everyone automatically knows, but you know, it's kind of like asking where such and such and how to get there. So level 2. If you want to, I don't think you have any.
Searching, does that apply?
Yeah, sure. Let's say searching.
Neat.
And if you wanted to spend 1 from your intellect pool, that would actually bring it to 0,
Sure.
and you wouldn't have to roll. Okay, so you know that Verdun's is inside a painting on the Street of Ambassadors. Just find this real quick. And is on here. Should be Verdun's music shop. And it's sort of, yeah, in the, let's call it the, close to the southwest portion of Fartown. It's not too far away. It's probably only about a 10-minute walk, and you can direct them. And Verdun's is interesting because it's actually inside a painting that's on an easel in a vacant lot on the street, Ambassador Street. And actually, maybe you've been there before. I don't know if Chester's a music appreciating person.
Nah.
But there's a couple of other things.
I was about to say,
Oh, yeah.
Ollie definitely listens to a lot of pretentious jazz, so...
Yeah. There's also a Vislae private eye who I think maybe Chester knows about, whether like you know them or not, but you might just know. Because actually when you enter the painting to get to the music shop, there is additional stores that are part of Ambassador Street that can only be accessed if you go into the painting.
That's neat.
Yeah, it's a very Saturnine thing.
The music shop is at this location. I myself do not prefer that ruckus. I like just putting on my radio in between stations and listen to the static while I work. But if y'all like to accompany me and this kitty cat here, we've had a successful run of killing a chair and getting a date. The day's looking up.
I would happily take your escort. That would be most appreciated.
It can only go downhill from here.
Hooray!
You
Are we
consider that
all invited?
Oh, absolutely.
Of course, and I think I owe you all a favor.
Can I carry the baby?
Well, I have to remain in for security, bonded reasons, insurance purposes, within contact of the baby at all times. And it's explained in this. Does Key get like a little crestfallen?
Oh yeah.
So the cat just sort of tails off and goes, well, if you carry me, then I'm still in possession of the baby.
Okay. I will pick up the cat and the baby.
Yeah, you go scoop up and like hops up into your arms, and you go away, and that is where we will end, as you have rescued the baby from a demon and escort the cat and baby home. So hopefully this brief gave you at least just a touch of Invisible Sun, and I hope we can have characters back for more. For anyone who is available next week, for instance, we can bring you back to get into something perhaps a little bit more involved and show off more of the magic. So we will go around and do our wrap up. And so for each of your characters, we will see, for those of you who picked character arcs, and for those who didn't, we'll work on picking you a character arc before you play again, if you made any progress on that. And we'll see if you got any joy or despair. You get one or the other, but not both. And so we'll look at the things that bring you joy and despair, either from your order or your forte, and see what might apply. So let's start with Ollie. Oh, and then we'll get your favorite moment of the night, which is a traditional VR kind of thing.
Yeah. So my favorite moment of the night was definitely Key's interaction with the angel. It was Ollie's least favorite moment because it was far too precious, but it was so precious and I loved it. I've got Repay a Debt as my arc. I don't think I really made much progress there, but yeah, we'll get to it.
Yeah.
And as far as joy versus despair, so on the one hand, I've met an angel that might actually be like kind of cool and not a cop.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, that's like a little bit of confliction. I'm going to go with a joy that there might be a cool angel out there.
Okay.
But a tentative one, which is about as joyful as Ollie gets.
Yeah. Okay. I buy that. So mark one joy.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. Let's go to Forda and see for Sivan. Sivan. I keep messing that up. All right. So I don't remember. We talked about, I think you were thinking something like uncover a mystery.
Yeah, or explore. I'm leaning more towards explore.
Okay. Which I can double check that arc.
So I wasn't entirely clear on how that worked because I don't know how character creation works.
That's right. Yeah. So usually we do end up, and With this, we're a little bit looser. So like
Okay.
an Invisible Sun campaign, you implicitly have to do like a session 0, whereas a group, you build your neighborhood out and do a decideratum where the group really decides like what you want your characters to do, and then the GM builds adventures from that. It's very character driven. But to get people started without them having access to the books, we have to do it a little bit differently. But what often happens is if you've got a touch of an idea, like explore, often this first session can maybe give us a seed of something that you might want to be the actual target of the exploration. So something unknown and you want to explore its secrets, most likely an area of wilderness, a region of one of the less explored suns, a newly discovered half-world, or even the dark, or in this case it could be some secretive part of Saturnine. We haven't necessarily gotten anything yet, although the street of Ambassador Street, which has this painting that goes into like new areas, like are there other secrets to be explored on Ambassador Street? That might be a potential character arc.
Yeah. I feel like Sivan is one of those sort of people that just, she's really content just to explore her local area. It's like, oh, there's a new shop on 3 blocks over. Let's go find it out. Like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, so this will tend to focus on the unknown, but it could still be local. So we can think about like a rumor maybe of an unknown place that's really close by, and probably the character arc, because usually what we do is we break it up into steps, and it doesn't have to be long; it can be short, and you get acumen as you progress through those steps. In this case, if it's unknown and nearby, it's not getting to it that's the problem. It's probably getting access. Like maybe you need a special key or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so that sounds good. We can talk about that. And I think we did figure out that you probably got a despair.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the weaving backfiring, and I don't think there was necessarily anything that would have brought joy that would outweigh that despair.
I mean, patting the baby on the head was, a nice moment, but like then immediately accidentally set somebody on fire.
That's right. I mean, it turned out to be a demon, so maybe no harm, no foul. But demons don't have souls, so it's okay. I play with demons a lot. This is probably my least demon-centric adventure. Okay, so you can go ahead and mark a despair on your character advancement tab. You can just like click the box, and it will just put in a check mark, and that's fine. And what was your favorite moment?
I think my favorite moment was probably also Key's interaction with the angel, but like also that the cat just so solidly was such a hipster.
Yeah, I liked them before they were cool. Excellent. I thought that was good too. All right, let's go to Ty and Chester.
As for joy and despair, I don't think I have, based on what my like arcs are, I don't think I have done that.
Yeah, so because you would have for apostate, developing a new spell, finding a specific success as a direct result of not being part of an order. You know what? I think that you, though, were shown a potentially powerful ally that would like you specifically for being an apostate.
Yeah, that's true.
And so that's a clear sign of like you being an excommunicated Vislae who eschews the orders as an apostate are doing perhaps the right thing.
Okay.
So I think that's worthy of a joy.
Okay.
And you didn't have a chance to murder a spell, so.
No. Okay.
All right. Although you do have the cool thing for you're starting out the mystical knowledge.
Yeah.
Is basically like you can just learn the basics of any spell cast near you.
Yeah.
Okay. And what was your favorite moment, Ty?
My favorite moment was, I think, memory, like talking to the guy, the angel, and then just being like, I don't remember, and moonwalking away. That was good exit. I enjoyed it.
That's good. I liked it. That was a good exit too. All right. Memory.
So I was very prepared and picked a character arc. So detailed that I forgot it. So I think I was looking at recover from a wound / trauma.
Okay. So what's Memory's wound or trauma?
I was going with trying. I was wondering whether this would work in this setting though, where it was Memory is a collect. Every time she hosts a new vessel, she gains another memory, but they have no idea which memories are theirs and not theirs. And I was imagining they've gone through something where they actually remembered something from their past and is like shaken by it because they don't know if it's real or just another figment of someone's memory. They're trying to piece together bits of who they actually are rather than who they appear to be.
Okay. So yeah, no, that absolutely makes sense. So like recover from a trauma. So like having these like fragmented memories, and you don't know which ones are yours, which ones are spirits. That all definitely falls within this. So the opening is rest. So the first thing you need to do on that character arc is just say that you take some extended period of time to recuperate a little bit and gather yourself.
So I should have stayed in that coffee shop for this whole adventure.
You should have stayed in the coffee shop for the whole adventure. So that's a good one. So we can handle that. Like you basically can say that you take a bunch of downtime in between the next thing. You take a couple of weeks because maybe this just happened pretty recently. So you're going to spend a few weeks focusing on you.
I'm going on vacation.
Yeah. And having some rest. And that basically gets you an acumen just for doing that. And then we progress from there. It's actually the opening is rest. And then it goes through a series of steps which can iterate, right? But the steps are self-care, getting aid, medicine, therapy, and then it moves to the climax, which is the moment of truth, and then the resolution. So you basically just have to decide like these things to accomplish these steps, and that's all we do.
I love that so much. I love this.
Yeah, it's a very wholesome character arc for sure. All right, and so do we have any joy or despair for you? I mean, an angel didn't like you.
Which I'm like, that would be memory has difficulty connecting with other people and forming bonds because they don't really know what kind of thing or being they are. So the connection with the angel not liking them and then was like, I forgot about it. Bye. But the connecting with Key and Siobhan was nice.
Yeah. So I think those are things that like make us happy, but mechanically don't necessarily bring us joy or despair. So yeah, I think in this case, even the angel, because it's not one that you summoned, right? So it didn't get out of control or anything. So
unless they don't show up for Key's date.
That's right.
In which case, their butt will be kicked.
Yeah, and that might lead to a whole thing. Okay, and what was your favorite moment?
I am again cheating because Key asking out the angel was the sweetest thing. But I also, for some weird reason, I really liked the image at the start where everyone was in the nebulous quirk, and I was picturing it as in a Friends style setup. So like Chester was on the comfy chair, Then next to him, I imagined Memory just hanging upside down. Then next to them, Siobhan on the wall. And then Ollie just looking really pensively out the window. And Key just with Mrs. Kilgast. Oh, it was a really nice, like, panning in image.
We'll have to add into this setup asking everyone which friend's character their Invisible Sun character is.
Phoebe.
Totally. I think most of the time it would just be a party full of Phoebes.
It's just all of Phoebe.
Yeah, Phoebe and Joey's. I think that's the adventure, which would probably be the best friends episode. All right, and finally, Anders with Key. Remind us, Anders, what is Key's character arc?
Key's character arc is romance.
Yes.
So, I think I got a lot of despair this session. A lot, No, I think I got some joy. I think I think moved up on my arc.
I think you specifically get an acumen, so that's what you get for advancing your character arc.
Okay.
Because the opening of the romance arc is caught someone's eye. You meet someone you are interested in.
Okay.
Since this can be short-lived, it's possible to have this opening occur more than once. Because the next step is courtship. So if it doesn't progress to courtship, you might have to just catch another angel's eye.
Okay. This one's got rainbow feathers, though.
I know. So I'll show you later the picture for this angel, because there's a picture in one of the books and it's badass. Which is, I've wanted to use this particular NPC for a long time because they rock. All right, and then for your things tied more to, so not just like, because you get an acumen for the whole like opening, so it doesn't really do double duty in necessarily bringing you joy at the same time. I don't know. You didn't cause the fire problem.
I didn't. That was
anything, you
not.
caused the fire solution.
You did do a fire solution, so that might be joy.
I also got to hold a baby, which is a thing that Key has really wanted to do.
which I think is nice. It brings us joy with a lowercase j as opposed to joy with
hold a baby.
Capital J. But I think in this case that you get to like largely help solve a problem with fire that might be worth a joy.
Cool.
All right. And what was your favorite moment?
So I had a lot, but there were two very specific descriptors right there at the beginning that I really loved and that I'm like, that still stick in my head. And it was Ollie describing their coffee as being super, super, super black and still having coffee grounds in it. And Chester like literally sinking in and being engulfed by the chair. Like it was so visual and perfect, and I loved it.
Excellent. I love that too. All right. So that's us for the night. So thank you everyone for joining. Thanks very much to my new players. Introducing even a little bit new people to this system is a joy of mine. So I hope that you'll all be back hopefully next week, and we'll play some more. And we're gonna raid Welcome Party RPG to send some people over there, and we'll be back. We're headed into another busy weekend. You can see the schedule if you ask for the schedule in chat. Variant Roles is super busy, and if you like Invisible Sun, come back Saturday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, for As the Suns Burn, which we've been on a unfortunate 6-week hiatus. But we are moving into the last arc of episodes for season 1, and we're in the red as a whole between the red and Saturnine in the Ruined Expanses was ripped open in our previous episode, thanks to some grand flux, which literally tore a hole in reality, and that was all because we had a very fine donation in our charity stream, which triggered a grand flux for a good donation for a good cause, because that money all went to Trans Lifeline. So see you around, everybody, and we'll send this raid over to Welcome Party RPG, and have a good night.